Sometime last week, former Education Minister Priya Manickchand said it was brought to her attention that there were going to be changes in the way the National Grade 6 assessment is going to be done, and that most of the country was unaware of those changes, in particular for pupils sitting the examinations.
Parents started writing to inquire why it was that their children now have to write their names on the answer sheets. This is a new feature to Guyana. So when we wrote on the 5th of, when we raised on the 5th that there were changes, the ministry's response, I remind you, was two things. One, there's only one change, and that is the structure of the paper. They didn't say anything about students having to write their names. And secondly, they said that, well, we sent all of this out. We don't know. Priya Manickchand is on some frolic of her own. We don't know what she's going on about.
Throughout the history of the examinations, Manickchand said that all which had to be done is for the student writing the exam to place their candidate number on the examination sheet. The use of the candidate number alone does not reveal who the child is, according to the former minister, and it is a process that allows for fairness in the marking process.
Parents have expressed great terror that the request for names on the paper will lead to all sorts of, or can lead to discrimination against their children, and are asking us to ask the ministry to withdraw this senseless requirement.
Putting names on the papers will create room for subjectivity and could bring into question the integrity of the examination system.
For myself, I would say don't write your name. But then, to quote the Kaiser News editorial, by their fruits you shall know them, the people who don't write their names, they themselves might be discriminated against because by our if it follows only our instruction, because then you'll probably know that they listen to the PPP and that's reason to discriminate against them and so on. So I hope the ministry, good sense prevails in the ministry. There is no value to adding a name, and I think I'd like to believe that this was just a senseless, thoughtless thing that was done. If it were not senseless and thoughtless, then it is sinister.
Another issue, according to Manickchand, is that some schools are yet to receive timetables.
So there seems to be some kind of confusion going on over there. I don't believe it is confusion that cannot be resolved, and I don't believe that it's confusion that can lead to much that could affect our children if we act on it quickly. The PPP is calling on the government to remove this requirement for the placement of names on the answer sheets and remove it immediately. That's not hard to do. We rather suspect that the papers have already been printed. We're asking that they tell the invigilators to tell the students not to write their names on the papers.
By making such a statement, the former minister doesn't feel that she could bring confusion to the new system. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education in a statement Thursday stated that the administrative mechanisms will have no bearing on the marking process whatsoever. According to the statement, each of the 4 subjects written in the National Grade 6 assessment has 2 papers, Paper 1 and Paper 2. As it relates to candidate information, the 2 papers require different sets of information. For Paper 1, the answer sheets will have the candidate information, candidate name and identification number already printed. The candidates are required to sign their names as a mechanism to ensure that the candidate for whom the paper was prepared is actually the one who answers the questions. This will have no implications for marking because these answer sheets are all marked electronically, a new feature. In addition to this, on the right half of the paper only, candidates are also required to write in the name of their school, their full name, date of birth, and gender. The right side of the sheets are all detached prior to the commencement of the marking of Paper 2 and retained for administrative purposes only. Handel Duncan, HGP Nightly News.